specialist. I am pleased to be moderating today's event, which brings top personalities from prestigious industries and the arts of Rome Business School Nigeria to our community, so our community can learn from. Okay, so I'm pleased to be moderating this event once again. I'll be introducing Mrs. Kemi Shonubi, and she'll be taking us through the topic, as I've said earlier, the value of networking, building professional connections. So I'll briefly give us a detailed biography of Mrs. Kemi Shonubi. Okay. Okay, so Mrs. Kemi Shonubi, right? She's a licensed human resource executive with multiple sectoral experience and a deep expertise in people's management, organizational development, and strategic planning. She's currently the director of people culture, experience, and operation at TVC Communications, where she works to create an environment that positions employees to reach out to their fullest potential. She's gifted with the interpersonal dexterity and the mastery of creating an exceedingly great place to work. She strategic HR professional and consultant with over 2 decades of combined experiences across different industries. Kem is a member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, the Society, the Society of Human Resource Management, USC, as well as the Nigerian Institute for Training and Development. She's an alumna of the prestigious Cornell University in New York with an advanced postgraduate certificate in strategic HR management. And she holds the MBA and Bachelor of Science degree in Human Resource Department and Accounting, respectively, from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. She's also a fellow institute She's also a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultant, Nigeria, and a certified management consultant. Kemi is a vivid reader and loves to write stories about workplace and life experiences, which gave birth to the name and the HR storyteller. She's oriented towards transforming HR practice and workplace culture with the art and power of storytelling. Okay, so that's the biography of Kemi Shonobi. Once again, Mrs. Kemi Shonobi, you're welcome, and we are delighted to have you um, give us detailed information about the topic as earlier introduced. Please, over to you, Miss Kemi. You may proceed.
Thank you very much, Beryl. Thanks for introducing us to the session. Good afternoon, everyone. I see that the numbers are increasing. Thanks to Rome Business School for this opportunity also to come speak to you today. I'm not a teacher. I'm here to help facilitate and learn also in the process. Shed more light, as it were, on the topic we'll be discussing today. So I think as a first activity, I would just like us to, we're going to be talking about networking, the value of networking. And I want to know whether yes or no in the comments or chat box section. Do you think that does introducing yourself to strangers, does it come naturally to you? Just let me know yes or no. So let me repeat the question. Introducing yourself to strangers, is it appealing? Is it natural to you? Does it come off easy? Okay, my answers are coming. My answers are coming. No, don't do depends. Just yes or no. I'm seeing some people are already saying depend. You know, when we say depends, that's a HR lingua. It depends. HR people always answer by saying it depends. Okay, I'm saying right, all right. I like that we have good mixes. It's a mix, it's a mix. Natural to me, yes, no. Okay, okay, okay. Even though not everyone has, it's natural, yes, yes, no, no. Okay, so that seems to be It seems somebody again, it depends. You people and this year, it depends. Yeah. Oh, somebody says he or she missed the question. I was asking, does, meeting strangers and being able to introduce yourself to strangers, does it come natural to you? Is it a yes or a no? Sadiq, you say you can't hear me, but I presume a lot of persons can hear me. Okay, so it does seem that we have a very good split from what I'm seeing. I have a handful of yeses and a handful of no's. So it's not automatic yes or no, to people's comment, it depends. So I think I can start my presentation. Let's see, please hold on. So that we can dive straight in and get a sense of what we're here to discuss, okay? I do hope everybody can hear me. I do hope you can hear me and you can see my, all right, fantastic. And you can see my slides. So I know that I have about 40 minutes. I'll try not to speak too much English and bore you, but I also will try not to rush because sometimes when I'm enjoying my conversations, I talk fast. So we're here to talk about the value of networking, so that I don't want to kill sitting. The value of networking and how we can build professional connections. That's what we're talking about today. This just shows you, it's part of networking, and I will refer to this later, how important it is for you to have something that, a brief synopsis or a brief summary of your person. I do hope, Sarah, I hope you'll see my slides as I'm moving, right? You can see this.
Yes,
so this
I
is just an image or a picture of my profile, a short version of my profile. And these are things that also go a long way when you're talking about networking, depending on in what category or what space you're speaking to. So let's go right in. There are many definitions for when we talk about, connections, or rather building networking, the value of networking and the definition of networking. I chose these ones because there's some words that were specifically highlighted for me. So it says a proactive process of, being able to establish and nurture your connections with individuals within a particular level of expertise, whether it's in your field, related fields, because a lot of times some of us focus only on people within our field, and I'll go into that, or life in general, in a bid to exchange information, resources, opportunities, fostering, which is why I said that the keywords I want us to take away from this session. Fostering personal and professional growth. And the last sentence there highlighted something very important. It's building mutually beneficial connections with other industry professionals. Sometimes we think that networking is only meant to serve us. We're the ones who are looking for something, so it's meant to serve us. I'm on this side of the divide. So, and that's why I love the topic that was, highlighted. It says the value of networking. Now, going into the importance of networking, whether within your circle or beyond, first of all, we've established that, of course, it's important for both personal and professional growth, and what that means is it's expanding your circle and building new relationships, beyond your current one. Because networking within your circle also is important, because what it does is that it allows you strengthen your existing relationships and therefore tap into the knowledge and expertise of those around you. Whether within your circle, it helps you meet new people, you discover new opportunities, and then, of course, broaden your perspectives. Let me go on before I start using specific examples to drive home my point. Of course, like we know, networking offers you the opportunity to learn from a lot of, other people who have more experience. And of course, sharing your own knowledge and insights with others. Beyond your circle, it also helps you build a diverse range of connections. We're talking about building professional connections. Networking doesn't necessarily mean you're only looking for somebody who can offer you money, who can offer you the next big gig. Sometimes networking is just that the next person remembers your name, understands who you are, and knows that you're a value creator. That's another word I want you people to leave with. Focus on being a person of value when we're talking about networking. And of course, you can see there, it says it can be valuable in today's global and interconnected world. Networking is not only for being in Lagos, being in Nigeria, it goes beyond that. Networking within your circle also is a very great way, of course, to build trust and credibility. When you connect with people on different platforms, or maybe at an event or a workshop or something, I'm giving expo already because I wanted to ask some questions, but you have to be someone that people can rely on, and that's actually how you can build that in the process. It's a great way for you to build trust and credibility, and lets people see, your skills and expertise. Even writing, when Beryl was reading my profile, I'm sure some of you picked up where she said, I'm known as a HR storyteller, and what I do basically is I write stories, share stories, real life experiences about the workplace. And that in itself is a platform I've created to ensure that I can network, people can connect to me, people can share more stories, and I am now known in that space, right? So networking, of course, can help you gain exposure to new industries and fields. These are some of the important, and I thought it was important for you to, I'm sure we have an idea, but sort of make it a bit more granular is what we're doing on this session. Okay, so these are some of the benefits of networking. We have enhanced collaboration opportunities, and from the word collaboration, you already understand that it now goes back to my first definition of mutually beneficial. We're having professional connections. What it does is that it positions you, it gives you access, that's it in simple terms, to collaborate with a diverse group of persons, right? Who can contribute their skills, their knowledge, resources, and of course, ideas to projects and initiatives. Let's use case in point, Rome Business School. What we're doing here, for example, is an opportunity to reach out to different professionals in their fields who are interested in learning. And what Rome Business School also does is collaborate with individuals and sometimes institutions. So what I'm doing with Rome Business School is a collaboration of sorts, right? And it is from a place that you are leveraging the types of skills that I have in delivering this session to the room. So that I thought to use that as an example. So it enhances, collaborative opportunities or collaboration opportunities. We also can, through one of the benefits is it's an opportunity for you to share, you can share resources and information. Case in point, the example of this session, I'm able to communicate to an audience of close to 160 persons, and I'm sharing, knowledge, I'm sharing information. You're using this platform, for example, to learn. You're using this platform to connect with other people. Being a student with this school means that you have access to a wide range of more persons, right? And of course, the third one on this page says that access to diverse perspectives. As we all know from the word diversity, what it means is that you move away from groupthink. You have access to people from different backgrounds. When we're talking about diversity, different backgrounds, different ways of thinking, gender profiling, they're different things. So the fact that you have access to the diverse pool of persons, it challenges your thinking, it broadens your understanding of the world and your industry. I'll use another example. One of the HR platforms I belong to, is a source of bouncing off your ideas or clarifying maybe a position that you think you have. Now, because you are in a wide room of diverse individuals who work in different fields, whether we are all in HR but different industries, there's not one solution to one problem, right? So what it does is that it challenges the way you're thinking, and it actually broadens your understanding of the world and your industry. You're working in oil and gas, or you're working for a startup company, or it's your startup company, or in the hotel or FMCG, having access to diverse perspectives, through networking broadens, as I say, broadens your horizon. And these viewpoints, they actually lead to innovation. When we talk about innovation, creativity, these are the things that fuel that, and improve decision making. And of course, lastly, on this page, we're talking about it gives you an opportunity, it's a benefit of professional development and growth. And I'll share a personal story or example. My last two opportunities in job, I'm going to use work. I won't even talk about things like even Rome Business School or training opportunities. I'll save that for later. It was through my network. When I was in there, somebody, the option of, oh, we're trying to hire for this role, we want to fill this position, and this individual was there. In fact, they reached out to him to recommend, and without hesitation. But note, this individual had, over the years, grown to be someone that had known through a, networking. And that person had seen or could attest to the quality of my work. Are we getting what I'm saying? That individual could attest to the quality of my work. We had not worked together. So let me say that. If I remember, I think there was a project we had worked together on. So well, we had not worked as work colleagues, right? And he knew my profile. He knew that my profile was a match for what was being sought after at that point. And I can tell you that this individual has been very instrumental, but it was a collaboration. We had that mutually beneficial relationship. So beyond being on the same platform, we had worked on a project together. He had bounced off ideas, had suggested, had collaborated, had assisted. These are some of the, key benefits. So I can tell you, and I have so many stories. I'm not called HR storyteller for sure, right? Along the line of, professional development and growth. I'm sure if I ask Sarah also, you don't need to speak now, but if Sarah and other members of the school were going to tell you, my name may have come forward at different points based on someone mentioning, someone seeing what I'm doing, someone talking about the quality of the work that I'm able to deliver on. Those are the things, or, that's when we're talking about the benefits of networking. So, professional development and growth, it involves where you're actively seeking opportunities for learning, expanding capabilities, and adapting to changing industry demands. I believe we're still together, everybody. Sarah, is everybody there? Yes, I can see Sarah's head. All right, so there are three types of professional networking, as we call it. You have the internal or operational, as it were, where we're talking about the connections you build within an organization, institution, professional body, or any other immediate circle. Sometimes we believe that it's until you go to one conference and you follow up with the speakers of the day, that is networking. I can tell you for free, there's nothing wrong in that, don't get me wrong, but you are not even taking advantage of your immediate circle. I saw a post on Instagram, I think it was a video, where somebody was reeling out, oh, if you're in your secondary school groups, you should exit. And I was going to ask everybody on this group, maybe I should ask that now. How many of us are, how many of us are on our secondary school platforms? You could just do a, show of hands or something, whether yes or no. Maybe yes or no, because somebody's already saying, I am. Let's just see. Yes. Yeah, okay. A lot of that is dropping. I think I've seen only one no. And I saw that video too. Thank you very much. No has come in also. I saw the video. Yes, yes. A lot of, Kenneth, fantastic. You see, I'm even the president. Congratulations. Somebody wants to exit their secondary school group. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Congratulations, Kenneth. President. Oh, somebody said, oh, just uni. Okay, that's also is also the secondary school. Okay, I have people raising their hands. I don't know if it's to ask a question or in support of what I'm saying. If it's in what I'm saying, just respond in the chat box. I don't know if I want to take questions now. Somebody says too competitive, drama. Oh, okay. Yes, hand raisers are yes. I'm the alumni rep. Primary school. Primary school. Wow. Chinedu, that's fantastic. I don't think I can. Primary. Many presidents are on this call. I don't think I'm not even primary, but it's good to see that many people, I have a few no's, and it's not a bad thing, but it's good to see that some of us, and I like that some people mentioned they've seen the video I spoke about. I also like how some people said, it's becoming too toxic. I understand that it can. And I think it depends on the quality of relationships you had in school. But where I was going to with this is that we sometimes don't know how to leverage on our immediate circles, whether it's school groups, whether it's church or, mosque, whether it's your office groups. We're doing a send forth for someone yesterday in the office, and I was asked to come say a few words. This is someone who spent about 11 years with the organization. And when he stood up to talk, he referenced, he articulated instances where his name had been mentioned from people within his immediate circle. He also used one example where a cousin of his works in another organization, and they were recruiting for a particular role. And the cousin realized that the individual that had applied works in the same company with this person sharing the story, right? And, usual, we want to find out, do background checks. So they called him and said, well, what do you have to say about this person? Now, culturally in Nigeria, we won't want to spoil somebody's market. So he didn't say, this person is bad. But there are things you will say to someone that if the person reads between the lines, he or she already understands that maybe that person is not necessarily the right fit, doesn't have the right character. So the question is, what types of, what's your value even within your internal or operational space, your immediate circle. And these sometimes involve colleagues, managers, and other employees, even with whom you collaborate with on projects. So imagine that you people were assigned to a project in the office or the team, and you did it so well. And then tomorrow, your colleague, in a different platform is being asked, okay, let me use an example. I don't know if we have people who are event planners or something around here, but using that example, maybe you were organizing a staff party in the office. You have a 1,000 person staff party, and then you were very instrumental in ensuring that party went as planned, budget allocation, guest artists, if you're bringing any, everything was done perfectly. And then fast forward, and this is something you have an interest or a passion for, you start doing it. Fast forward, maybe there's some big event outside. Most likely, if you performed well and you have colleagues to be best friends, you have colleagues that saw the quality of work you brought on board, you will be recommended, right? Okay, so somebody says they don't scatter the group. That's to the question of which group you belong to. They don't like, yeah, I know all of that. So back to my example, that is from your internal or operational space. Now, external or personal, and this is where you have institutions, conferences. So maybe we went for an event, went for a speaking event, you meet there, And then, most times we also find that a lot of us are doing this. You wait until the end. What are you doing while the conference is going on? You're sitting beside someone. Have you even exchanged your cards? Have you shared a laugh? Have you introduced your names? All of you will sit down. You are waiting for somebody to say, now it's time to network. And then you sometimes are targeting the other people who may not remember you in that 1 minute that you stood in front of them, because it's a, it's transient. You're just moving fast, right? So this network connects you with professionals from different companies. On your WhatsApp groups outside of your school groups, you may have professional bodies, whether you belong to ACCA, you belong to ICANN, maybe you're an accountant, or you're a HR practitioner, or you're an engineer, or something, right? The different groups that are created, or maybe you were inducted with a group of people. Do you connect with those people? And these types of platforms, it offers fresh insights, potential partnerships, and gives access to a wider pool of expertise and opportunities. Now, the third one is also a different way of networking. And they call it, is either strategic or online. So it's two-faced, right? It's essentially for strategic, it essentially combines the two above mentioned types. So whether it's internal or external, operational or personal. While the online part is you leveraging social media, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Twitter. There are people who have connected through Twitter, and they've gone on to network and build relationships, right? And professional platforms. It's mentioned that you have LinkedIn, Twitter, industry-specific platforms where professionals connect and share insights, thereby building relationships. And a place like LinkedIn, for example, if I don't know what the demography of our class is, but a place like LinkedIn would showcase that you can have connections outside of Nigeria, outside of Africa, across different continents. And it gives you, it gives you a platform to showcase your expertise and learn from others. I have, for example, gotten people all the way from Germany, Australia, who reach out to me, say, oh, I follow you. There's a particular topic you commented on. We want you to come speak on that. We want you to contribute. We want you to write something, white paper submission. These are the types of professional networking that you can leverage on, right? All right, moving on. It's very important that we build authentic connections. And I'll explain what this means. Sometimes, we're human, and by nature, we are mostly selfish, right? We all want, most times, what I can get from you now. And the mistake a lot of people make is that many people can see through that. When you meet someone or you reach out to someone, and the first thing you're doing is you're already telling them what you want them to do for you. Oh, I want you to mentor me. People don't even know. Not many people understand the meaning of mentorship, right? Oh, I follow you. I really like what you're doing. And the next thing you're saying is, I'm looking for a job. There's nothing wrong with that. But the question is it something that you also want to build? You want to build a relationship. You want to build a professional connection, right? So the first one is that you need to be genuine. Authenticity and simplicity is key. I find, for example, and I'll use an example, you finish speaking at an event, and the speakers are either in a hurry to leave, or they're spending a few minutes to talk to people. And you have, they call it speed, it's almost like speed dating. You have maybe maximum of 2-3 minutes. If you're lucky, you may get more than that, but most times it's very short. And you're launching into your problems. You're saying, oh, I'm at work, I'm not happy there. I work for a boss, I've been there 20 years. Let us be honest, I applaud the fact that you are comfortable enough to try to share, but the reality is it might be very difficult for that person to go away from that meeting with anything aside he or she just came to complain, right? For a simple thing, oh, I follow you, I'm interested in some things you do, I would like to send a message to you on LinkedIn. If that's, if you're okay with it, or I have your card, do you mind me sending you a message? And yada, it goes. What happens sometimes is that, and I'll use another example. Someone had reached out to me and I specifically told the person, please reach out to me. I give them my card and I said, reach out to me either on that number or on LinkedIn. And the first response I got was, I'm not sure that's what I want. I wanted the person to come and meet you, and I'm saying, no, I have to be somewhere. But if you reach out to me, I would respond. As I speak to you, the person has not reached out. Authenticity and simplicity is key. Listen actively. So it's not just for you to talk. If you're trying to strike up a conversation, you're at a meeting or you're at a gala night or an awards night or conference that's lasting for 3-4 days, and they brought you all from different industries, and you are just doing the talking. You're not trying to also listen and say, okay, what are we building here? What experience do you have? You're talking about maybe you're in the let me use the estate management space. You're into building, right? And you know that you want somebody in NHF or Federal Mortgage Bank and all of that. And you're sitting beside someone. You don't just launch in with your problems. You also listen, let the person talk, listen more and speak less. Because it's in listening that you may be picking the pointers that the individual is either not sharing, or you understand the body language from maybe this person can talk or this person wants me to speak another time. And then again, that's favorite two words, mutual benefit. Seek to offer value. I like the word value because a lot of us in the workplace or in our businesses forget that value is actually what brings money. What are you offering? What is your value, right? Seek to offer value in return. And I'll use another example. So let's imagine that you're just starting out in your career and you want some guidance, you want to build competencies, and you know that there are people within your space that you sort of follow, you like to emulate, you like to pick up some things outside of even your office or even in your office. And most of the time they're involved in going on business deals, business meetings, they're doing, they have to do pitch decks, they have to do presentations. Offer your time. Offer your time. Oh, do you mind me maybe I could help you put some research together. Are you doing anything this weekend? I'm not asking you to become anyone's unpaid PA. That's not what I'm saying. I'm asking or saying that you may, at that point, because people think that I don't have anything to offer. Value. Some of us, for example, there are times I am very busy to even put or conceptualize some of the things I'm going to work on or deliver or present. I would like it if I have people within my circle, I'm just using an example, who are willing to use their time because maybe they have more time than I, to help put and craft these things together. I have someone who just say, okay, Mark, do you mind putting a voice note together? Let me understand what you are thinking. And then they build on that. Seek to offer value in return, just using that example, right? Now, how do we build long-lasting relationships? How do we build long-lasting relationships? When I started talking, I asked about, do you like, okay, I like, somebody says more like volunteering, okay? Does it come natural to you? Some said yes, some said no. And I think if I was doing a poll, it did look like it was an even split. And we'll go into personality and all those things later. But it is important, or it's very possible, to build long-lasting relationships. The example I gave of someone who has referred me 2 times in the course of my career. And when I say 2 times, that's over the course of, it's almost a 10-year period. That's a lot, right? It's because we have built relationships. From time to time, we'll send him a message, or how are you, just checking up with you. We'll speak on the phone. We still collaborate on other things. We offer advice to each other. We serve on on projects, we speak at different events together. The first step is nurturing, which falls under what I just said, regular communication and follow-ups. You don't always have to be the one demanding, asking, seeking, wanting. You're not a grabber. You have to nurture. Nurturing is, look at it from the place of planting. When you plant flowers, you need to water it up. You need to put fertilizer. You have to put manure. Regular communication and follow-ups. The second one, and I think it's linked to what we said before, it's along the lines of reciprocity. Is there something mutually beneficial? Offer help and support to others. Reciprocity. Offer help by offering your time. Sometimes something as simple as meeting up for coffee. You can actually ask someone that, okay, do you want breakfast? Let's meet up for coffee. I would like to hear your thoughts on something. Or, you're offering help and support, and it's both ways. The third one is you have to maintain a balance. Quality over quantity. Same example I gave where I said, at that moment, I just finished talking, and there's so many people who wanted to speak to me, and they all needed either to do a selfie. I like selfies. It's good to take selfies at events. But, at that point, what are you selling? It's not talk. Oh, this has happened. This is happening, because I am being courteous in listening. By training, I will listen. But the question now for you is, what has she taken away from that session? Have I made myself memorable enough? So even in building the relationship, it needs to be that you're focusing on quality. What are the conversations you're having? Even the regular communication, you're sending messages from time to time, checking up on you. It shouldn't just be, what about that thing we discussed? What about that thing we discussed? At a point, people will just say, you know what, I can't deal with this. Some of us that said our groups have become toxic, apart from the competition, there's some people that we went to school with that have become either bitter. They want you to do so much for them, and then you're asking, well, we went to school. We both went to school. How did this relationship? Yes, maybe you are in a position to assist, but if it seems that you keep drawing from the same well, the well would go dry now when you're not replenishing. So these are three things to focus on when you're building long-lasting relationships: nurturing, reciprocity, and maintaining a balance, right? Okay. Now, some of the strategies, I'm sure some of us are familiar with this. Some of us know, some of us don't take advantage of it. Some of us just say, when I'm looking for work, I'll look for work. I can tell you so many stories of attending conferences and workshops, and of course, people walking up to you and talking. And this is not at this stage, and I'll use examples. There was a stage in my career that I would be attending as an attendee, right? Not as a speaker, not as a convener, not as a facilitator. And my job at those conferences, beyond learning from what was being said, in fact, I can count how many times, in all honesty, and I'm being very honest, that I walked up to people speaking to go say, oh, I can count. Once again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I don't want people to think that you're saying don't go and meet people. Of course, it's good, but I can count how many times, because for me, it was strategic. It wasn't that I just want to go say, hello, I like you, thank you, I want you to mentor me. And then after that, I don't do any follow-up. I don't genuinely, because remember we said be authentic, right? Attending conferences and workshops is an opportunity for you to connect with people, whether in your immediate circle or even people who you aspire to connect to. I remember going for a HR boot camp maybe 9 years ago. Yeah. And one of the persons who is now in my circle, a bit more senior, of course, I specifically remember when she was going around, she came to my table, and that is when I shook hands with her and I said, thank you very much. Your your presentation was fantastic, well done. We kept it at that. I didn't go further. Went on LinkedIn, followed her on LinkedIn. I can't even remember whether we conversed. I didn't deliberately go say, oh, I'm looking for a job. No. Fast forward a few years after that, of course, once in a while, just hello, hi. When I started the HR storyteller platform, there is one part of what I used to do, or I do, where we have HR business leaders come into the platform and share stories. We also belong to another group. From that time I met her 9 years ago, she remembered just my hello, hi, and I referenced it. I didn't ask for anything, but she had now come on the platform, networking. The next one, of course, is engaging on social media, LinkedIn, Twitter. We've said this already. You need to also join professional organizations. Don't bury your head in the sand. Beyond school, your workplace, you're certified maybe in a different space. Like I said, maybe you're in accounting, HR, engineering groups, maybe medical profession. It could be that you're a software developer, whatever it is, or marketing. Join your professional groups. There's so many these days where you're talking about finances, you're talking about the workplace, you're talking about organizations. Just to give me heads up, because I told you I can talk a lot. Beryl, how am I doing with time? Do let me know so that I don't just talk, and then you start doing red button for me. Beryl, is Beryl there?
Yes, please. Okay.
Okay, so we're speaking. Beryl, confirm please. How are we doing? How many more minutes? Even though I think I'm moving.
We have at about maybe 12 minutes more.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Thanks for the support. Then I wanted to use style and hear somebody else talk to me. You know how it is. You're just talking, just to be sure that I'm not talking to, I've turned to dramatist. Anyway, so I was talking about joining professional organizations. And that's like, I think I've explained that. There's also another part of collaborative research projects. Another story for you. So a few years ago, Lagos State was doing a program. It was called Ready, Set, Work. And largely what the program was situated or positioned for was to go into schools, universities in Lagos and spend 13 weeks with students in their penultimate year, which we usually call your final year students, thereabout, right? So it was across the different universities and polytechnics in Lagos. And I was one of the volunteers. 13 weeks, it sounds 13 weeks. So every Saturday for 13 weeks, you have to go to different universities to go teach, spend the whole of the Saturday from morning till, I think we used to start classes about 9, and then by 4 we're done. What we're doing in those weeks was to prepare people for the workforce. I really wish many governments or states would do it and continue it. It was one of my most fulfilling projects. Now, the reason I'm using this example was the people that I met, connected with, that we collaborated, because what you're doing is they pick different volunteers from different industries. It wasn't just HR practitioners. People who are passionate about growth, passionate about training, passionate about sharing life experiences. So we all had different strengths and areas. You were left with your students. You actually had students. And because we were the ones taking in students from the schools. And most of those students, because I did how many circles, it was a beautiful project, right? Exhausting, but fulfilling at the same time. The people that I connected with through that project, both as facilitators and even the students, we've gone on to become, some of us have become very good friends. Some of us have worked on other projects. Some of us have either referred each other for something, a job, an opportunity, a contract, because of that, that project that we did. So a networking strategy is also to work on collaborative research projects. Maybe if we're putting together a white paper across an organization, you work together. So these are some of the networking strategies that I thought to highlight for this session. Okay, moving on. We all know what an elevator pitch. So as against the example I used, where the person who was speaking to me, and I've seen this happen many times, you are launching into problems and you want the person to give you a solution at that point in time. It depends. You're going into, oh my, you know, what you said really touched me. I liked what you said. Fantastic, good feedback. But then you go on to say, I just need to explain something to you. Oh, Bola is on the call. Oh, yes, that's, you see, that's one of my RSW people. Bola Onime, thank you so much. Yeah, you know, and you're talking about, oh yes, I have a problem. My boss does not like me. I've worked with the company for 10 years. They've refused to promote me. And, you know, I'm not moving forward in my career. And this is you still talking at an event that the person is supposed to have access to other people. What you've done is you've already put a block. In my own, this is my interpretation, I may be wrong, but that's what happens to me because I cannot necessarily fix that problem at that point in time. However, I might at a different or a later time, when we've built a understanding of each other, now start preferring solutions or suggestions on what to do. Now, if I was brought to the event as someone who could do speed solutions, that's different. So a concise introduction about yourself and your research. When we say research, maybe research on the person, on the topic, on the business that the person is, who the person representing, you know, who the person is there, right? And of course, secondly, you must captivate interest in a few sentences. Captivating interest in it. So, for example, if I'm at an event, let me use something realistic. So Bosun Tijani is the minister of, you know, is a newly elected minister of technology. We knew that, right? And coincidentally, years ago, I had gone to an event where he organized in CC Hub and participated as a think tank. You know, we were meant to delve into issues and all of that. So fast forward, imagine I'm at another event and I have the privilege of, you know, he walks up to me or walk up to him and I won't just start saying, oh, I will introduce my name. Of course, he would speak to me, you know, and at that level. But one of the things I will remember is I'll say, oh, you remember CC Hub? We worked on one project. Aha, interest, using an example. So you wanting to network with somebody, you need to know maybe either something you've worked on together, something you've seen that they've written. For example, somebody tells me, there's this particular story you wrote on workplace something, you know, maybe the one with toxic bosses, and references captivates. Link yourself to that individual. So it's interesting. I use another example. I usually facilitate for CIPM, assess, you know, people who want to be inducted into the institute. And when we're going through introductions and things, I do something as funny as, so somebody says, I work with Transcorp, and I'm like, oh, it means the next time I'm coming to Abuja, that I'm going to stay in Transcorp. You know, I joke about it. But what happens when that person, in fact, has happened twice. I joke about Transcorp, I've joked about somebody in FMCG. The person reached out to me on LinkedIn and referenced that statement. I remembered. Somebody also was on my call one time who worked in one of the banks, ended up, and this is real, ended up connecting. I had an issue with estate accounts, right? This person who was my student ended up being the connector. So captivate interest in a few sentences. You know, when we're talking about elevator pitch. All right. So what are the tips for successful networking? First of all, you need to set clear goals. What do you want to achieve? What's your aim from this platform, from this person? You need to prepare, you know, research potential networks before final contact. The different groups I belong to, I did just jump on them. And I'm very careful, well, as a person, I'm very careful about people I let into my space or that I'm in their space, right? And then be respectful of time. You need to keep your interactions focused. Don't You meet somebody today, the person will not automatically just, we now start, you know, we just start talking, and you expect that you know, all of a sudden we're best buds. No, it requires some grooming. It requires time. I mentioned someone, well, I think we've known for, let me do the math, maybe 6-7 years if I'm math, and it's gradual. We met at different places. We're in the same space. We connect on that space. We meet at different events. We talk. We share, you know, here and there. That is how to build, you know, when they say your network, you know, that's how to build it. So be respectful of time, keep interactions, you know, focused. All right. So what are the etiquettes for networking? Please follow up. Send thank you notes or emails. Don't, I've also met people through interviews. Somebody's, it means my time is up. Beryl, are you
Yeah,
trying to talk to me?
yes, please. You have to
Where am
start
I?
rounding up.
Okay, I'm
You have
almost there.
less than 2 minutes.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, I'm almost there. You see, I said I can talk forever. Follow up, send thank you notes or emails. Personalize, which means customize your communications. Don't just copy and paste. I know we're in the age of AI. Sometimes when you're writing on LinkedIn, it's telling you what, you know, sort of personalize it. Be patient. Relationships take time to develop. Please, you need to regularly update your LinkedIn and any other profiles. How are you seen on Twitter? Even in the example I gave of Bosun, you saw how those things he wrote on Twitter came back to be scrutinized and analyzed, right? Share insights and achievements. Don't be shy. Some of us try not to talk about what we've achieved. Engage in discussions and share content. When you're on those groups, are you quiet? Because some of you are saying the group is toxic. What are you doing on the group? You're just reading other people's charts. Now, I know some people fall in this category. How do you overcome? Introverted nature. Yes, not all of us are social butterflies. Not all of us can just start up a conversation, but start small. You need to practice gradually. Rejection is not everybody that we connect, and that's okay. So the fact that we're talking about it today does not mean automatically you tick all the boxes. Focus on quality interaction, which is time constraints. Like the example I gave, that might not be the best time to be speaking all your life history. I thought it was important to just show you beautiful statistics about networking. There are about 15 here, if you just quickly scan through. A lot of them from LinkedIn, some from CNBC, which indicates, you know, for example, I like this one that says 90% of professionals consider networking vital to their career development. There's some on LinkedIn also. 1 in 4 professionals around the world has established new business partnerships by networking actively on LinkedIn. And there are many others. So in my closing thoughts were captured as this simple. Simply put, networking means building connections with other professionals. Is always, you know, should always be beneficial to both parties. It helps, you know, better reputation, increases your visibility, improved business growth, impactful connections. And like I just showed you, statistics actually just show that apart from helping you find new clients and boosting your career growth, the main reason why networking is important is that it opens us all to new employment, business opportunities. And to become good at networking, build your online presence. Online, not just LinkedIn. Online on these groups. Keep in touch with your network and regularly participate in networking events. Thank you very much. I'm open to questions now. I think I can stop sharing. I believe I can. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Mrs. Kemi. We have indeed benefited greatly from this presentation. Thank you. Okay, so this is question. I have a question. So what advice would you give to someone who is just starting to recognize the importance of networking in their career?
What advice would I give to someone who just start
Who's just
small?
starting to,
Yeah,
okay.
start small. I think I've already given some insights on where you can start. The different platforms. Are you on LinkedIn, for example? How are you presenting your posture on LinkedIn? Then another thing, it's easy for people to say, I don't know how to write. We can't all write on LinkedIn every time. We may not be the best writers, but when you're following people, what do you say? When they make posts or they write something or they're sharing information, they're sharing maybe job ads, do you contribute? Or there's a thought-provoking conversation going on. Are you contributing? Okay, on the platforms you currently belong to, you're starting out your career and they've added you to a platform. What are you doing there? Are you just keeping quiet? Are you asking questions? Are you seeking clarification? Are you contributing to a topic? Are you, when they're inviting or maybe you belong to a professional body, you raise your hand and say, okay, I would like to serve in the committee. The things you can start doing to contribute your time. When you reach out to people on LinkedIn, are you only reaching out to them because you want them to do something? Are you reaching out to say, okay, I see that I follow you, or I see that this is something, there an event I can attend? I would like to meet up at an event that is there some, there are different ways to, but start small. Where do you start from? So it doesn't, and I'll use the same example. When I started my background was not in HR. When I started in HR, I knew that I had to deliberately start speaking with more HR people. I had some in my circle already, but reaching out to them, it was easy to now join a platform. And I used to talk, I used to share information. In fact, that platform was where the HR storyteller was bettered, free of charge. So start from somewhere, join a community, add value to the community, observe, see what you can do differently. And that is what I would recommend. I hope that responds or answers your question.
So much, ma'am. Second question would be how can, yes, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. So how can you effectively network and connect with professionals who are more experienced or senior in their own field?
Once again, I think I'd touched on this with an example. Effectively connecting to people who are senior. Yes. What value are you offering? I have a very good friend, younger, who will tell, is someone that, is in the HR community also. And he shares a story very passionately about how he was able to have senior friends, senior egbons, as we call it. He volunteered his time. He was willing to assist them in putting business decks together. Is quite creative, in design and all of that. And these are some of the things you can do and help. And you know that some of these seniors, as we call it, they either have projects they're working on, either personally or even professionally. Offer your time. Sometimes he actually used to follow some of them to this event just to, it's not everybody that is tech savvy, assisting in resolving their technical difficulties. Some of them, he also helped them with their profile, putting together their profile, their social media presence. Some of these things are, we overlook it and think that, and the senior doesn't need me. Everybody needs support. Everybody needs support. But the question is, you can ask, how may I assist you? How may I help you? What can I do differently? What can I do? These are the skills I have. And these are the things I want to improve in or improve on. However, these are the skills. I'll use another example. I used to just write the stories, share on WhatsApp, and someone who was in my circle, someone who I mentor, offered that, okay, ma, what's the vision for this, for the stories? And I said, I would like to start putting them um, what do you call it? I like to start putting them in, a more visual format. We moved it to Instagram, and now you see pictures, you see, comics, you see design. It's someone, a mentee that pointed me in that direction. So I'll say, once again, start small, connect to them, but don't make it all about you. I want a new job. I want you to mentor me. People have enough mentees. That doesn't mean they can't take on more. But we also see people sometimes that are not serious. I'm being honest, and I'm giving this feedback. People just say, I want you to mentor me. What does that mean to you? What do you want from the person, and what are you willing to exchange? That would be my response to that. I think I saw a question about books. There are many source materials. There are many books on networking, influencing and building friends. I'm trying to remember the names. I know there's one by Dale Carnegie. I'm trying to remember the few by John Maxwell. Top of mind, I don't mind, I know I have a library of different books, and I'm trying to remember the ones that come to mind specifically about networking. But I think the question you may be asking is about, how do you build the confidence? How do you build the charisma? Practice makes perfect. Learning how to teach. You're not selling a product. Well, your product is yourself, but learn that you need to make it, yes, thank you. Educate, yes, how to win friends and influence people. Maybe not exactly networking, but you build, it does have a lot of insights about winning people over and learning how to speak. There are different source materials that we can get in that regard. Are there any other questions, Beryl? Oh, I've seen one. Introverted people. How must they go about? Being introverted, you may say that this woman that talks and seems to be a social butterfly may not be the best person to answer the question. But I do think that, and this has happened a couple of times, I've said this at different events. I have friends and people who may
Yeah.
not be as Beryl, I was taking a question already from the chat box. I was responding to that. I have friends who may not be as outspoken as I am. And what they've done is they've invited me to come along to an event with them, just to maybe not open the door, but pave the way to speaking to someone they really want to speak to. But there's so much that interaction can do. You have to know your onions. Being introverted does not mean you can't speak when the opportunity opens up. So what happens is, when you do it once or twice, either you have a chemi in your circle or you reach out to people. Now, being introverted does not mean that you cannot have a social media presence. Remember that we're not speaking about networking only being physical. You can also write, you can chat, you can share, you can comment, you can share an opinion. It doesn't have to be physical. So when I hear introverted, many people are, but at some point you have to build the capacity. It doesn't mean overnight you're going to turn to somebody that speaks. It's not, networking isn't about who's speaking the loudest or who is making the most noise or who is more colorful. It isn't that. It is value transfer. What do you have and what is the other person? What do you want from that other person? Why do you want to be in that person's network? Do you want to have continuous access at different points in time? There are people that are in my network that we may not see in a long period, but once in a while, we chat with each other, we share knowledge, we assist each other, we communicate. Or somebody will reach out to me and say, oh, Kemi, I know that you may be able to help me in this regard. What are your thoughts on this? So, I wouldn't say that being introverted means that you can't network. Go with a friend who may be the social butterfly, but not the one that will take over the conversation and then you are not even able to get a word in. So you need to learn how to balance. Somebody says, is spirituality, I don't know, I think the questions are, Beryl, are you seeing the questions, or I can continue the way I am going? Is spirituality important in building a network? I believe so. I do believe so, but it now depends on what you mean by spirituality. I do believe in everything you're doing, depending on your relationship with God, and I believe that's what you mean by spirituality here. Your faith and all of that, those things matter. But sometimes maybe the people or persons you're trying to connect with are not right for you at that time. Maybe they also are time wasters. And remember, there's a slide I mentioned. If it doesn't work out, don't beat yourself up. Move on, And I think with the advent of social media, we sort of make mistakes of the number of followers we have means connections. Sometimes they're not real connections. Your followers may not necessarily be your network because it does not translate into a net worth, right? It's not that. So yes, spirituality could come in. You could pray, about it. And I don't know if that's a question that is being asked. I would like to hear a bit more about the elevator pitch. You have to pay me, boss. That's Kenechukwu. I think in reference of this, the elevator pitch, or what I was alluding to, using as an example, is how to, elevator, when you get into elevator, up, down, and those two things that we're talking about is how to just catch their attention. What are the things you're sharing? What's that aha moment that whoever you're talking to, when you have the opportunity, once more? I use another example. Someone reached out to me on LinkedIn a few weeks ago and is trying to sell a solution for consumption. So of course, I'm interested because we are all looking at, and not even as an individual, as a company. So was able to, very short pitch, very short, introduce himself, mention that he sees that I work at this organization, believes we have a fleet of cars, and he believes that he has a solution that he could come and share more details on. Simple, direct. Okay, how do you approach a male? I like this question. How do you approach a male for networking without being misunderstood? He might think, my sister, there is a manner to speaking. There's sometimes you're talking, some men may find it attractive, but I believe that, it's value, focus on value. It's like saying that you're going for a contract pitch and, you're a woman, you dress well, you look very sharp and everything. And the clients you're pitching to, most of them, maybe they're men. Now, if what you're saying is hollow, if what you're saying, you're touching your face, you're touching your, you're not able to deliver what you're selling. Now, what you're selling is not you. It's you in one sense, your mind and everything, but you're selling an idea, you're selling a product, you're selling a service. Then the focus changes from, maybe she's flirting. What are the words you're using? Are you holding on to his arm while you're talking when you're just meeting him for the first time? Mm-hmm. Or you're saying things like, oh, smell nice. And you've lost it. You smell nice. I just thought to come and tell you. It's good afternoon. How are you doing? My name is Vivian, or my name is Kennedy Chukwu or something. And I represent this brand. I appreciated the feedback, you shared. And I would like to connect with you on LinkedIn and then follow up. Connect. Because sometimes people say you want to connect. You even forget once you leave the room, or they've given you the card, depending on what the circumstance, right? And you can't send SMSs. I've sat on a table with some speaker that followed her followed or known of her from a distance, right? And okay, Beryl is here to tell me that we have to go. There are many questions. Beryl, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yeah, we are running behind our time schedule.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, Kenneth. I said Beryl, the party pooper. Beryl is just trying to be mindful of everybody's time. So I think my job is done. I know that there's a lot more questions. So maybe Rome Business School, they want a part 2 or continuation. So we'll see if that's possible and continue the conversation. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for, oh, my LinkedIn. Okay, let me pull that out so that but I think somebody mentioned, let's see if people have learned from this session and see how they reach out to me. All right, so I think I can leave the floor. Stop talking. Yes. All right, I'm sharing my.
It's fine with us.
Yeah, shared. So thank you very much once again. I wish everyone a fantastic weekend. Try to rest and read, learn. Yes, I've shared it already, Sophia. My LinkedIn. Thank you.
Somebody saw Thatcher and said the person you know, the person is not.
Hello, Beryl. Are you still there?
Yes, please, ma'am. Sorry, I think I have network. Yes, can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining this session. Oh, we appreciate your time. All right. Sarah, please, I think you can proceed with the closing remark. Thank you.
All right, Beryl. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mrs. Kemi. The section was very, very insightful. In the spirit of networking, I'm encouraging everyone to follow our speaker. She's active on LinkedIn as Kemi Shonubi. Beryl, I'm not sure this is your LinkedIn. This is your name on LinkedIn. Please, can you confirm?
My name on LinkedIn is Beryl Benz.
Okay.
Yes,
All
please.
right,
Thank you.
everyone. Feel free to connect with our moderator and our speaker. I can also see Adeboyega Rashid. I can see Leonard Ago. I can see AGK Ekene. I can see so many other names. So in the spirit of networking, I will encourage everyone to follow each other. You can drop your name as well on the chat box and, begin the networking from here. So thank you very much, Mrs. Kemi. Is it possible to get the slide?
Hi, Sarah. Yes, I can send the slides across. I'll send it to you rather. And
Okay.
yeah, I'll send it across. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you everyone for attending to this section. I can see some people still requesting for attendance. The attendance is still here. If you can't see it, it means that you have to log out and log back in to see the attendance. So thank you again for today. On behalf of the country director, Dr. Humphrey Akanazo, and our president, Professor Antonio Ragusa, and every of our team members under the Career Service Department, we say thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.